Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm required to give my reflections on a recent online meeting. So Thursday of last week, I'm on the Homeowners Association board, and we had our board meeting. It was all online, and we used the Teams platform, which is slightly different from Zoom, but I have experience in using Teams as we had used that in Space Force as our major meeting platform. So I was familiar with the platform, knew how it operated and all the details in there. So I felt comfortable on the platform. I didn't feel like I had to go through, learn the platform or worry about the various nuances of the platform. So I felt very comfortable going through there. And as always, we did have the agenda predefined. We knew who was going to be able to attend. There were two items that we were going to focus on and that required outside people. And our property manager went through and made a point to invite those people. So we had not just the board, but the other people who were needed to give updates and information so that we were able to be efficient in the meeting. We had a rather long agenda. So as president, it's kind of my job to go through and make sure everybody is focused and we're going through on the various discussion of items and to make sure that we're not getting into too much detail or going off on tangents as we're discussing items, or if there's something we're unable to resolve in a particular meeting, I went through and said, okay, let's do something different on that. We recently had the Colorado Springs Fire Department, several landscapers come through, do some fire mitigation, and there was a confusion over the scope of work that was being sent to us. And I realized, okay, we were not going to be able to resolve that within our meeting. So I made a point during the meeting to be able to keep the meeting going, saying, okay, I think we need to do an actual walkthrough of the property. So reached out to various members, found what would be an ideal time to do it. The purpose of that was to avoid a lengthy discussion going nowhere and just to be able to get something to resolve it. Couldn't resolve it in meeting, but we were able to resolve it later. Good news, we were able to get it resolved. There had been another issue where we had discussed something for a long time. We were getting back and forth from the lawyers as to what we should say, what we could do. And I sat back and say, okay, what we're talking about is really not a big problem, really hasn't happened a lot. And we've had this on the agenda for several months. So at that time, I just went through and proposed, okay, we've talked about it. It's not a big issue. What if we just drop it and just move forward on that? It doesn't happen much. Everybody agreed to that. So that was good. Again, rather than having a lengthy discussion on that, I was able to resolve the particular issues. So we weren't all in the room we weren't all face to face in the room together. We were online together, but I was just able to keep through, get a sense of what everybody was going through here. One thing I didn't like, and maybe because it's lunchtime, so the other board members were eating lunch, very few people actually had their cameras on. I could see the notes, who they were, and when they were speaking, we'd get the little blue box around them. So I knew, okay, this is who's speaking. Again, I've been with these people for a while. I can recognize the voices. So when the voices come up, I know who's speaking, so I can understand that and go through. People have been very good getting on mute when they're not discussing or not having the item, so we don't have the inadvertent conversation coming up moving forward on that. So I feel the etiquette for the online meetings, for the most part, was good. Most people who did have the cameras on were in office type settings, so it was a good professional background, could see where they were, able to work through on that. So that particular thing was good. And I know with the pandemic, more and more people started using online platforms for the online meetings. I think we're all used to it now. So for me, when I have to go through talk about an online meeting, myself and most of the other participants understand the etiquette, the rules, how to handle an online meeting, which is good because I do remember back to the beginning of the pandemic, it's like, hey, you're on mute. Hey, mute your phone so we don't hear your background discussion. So we don't have to give the reminders to people on there. So that's something that's been good and has been moving forward on that. Really enjoy that. And just the trust and the working with people feels good because we somewhat have an understanding and we do a lot of background communication before the meeting, so everybody is somewhat on the same page. So overall, I would say that we were very efficient and we were effective on our online meeting that we had for the Ptarmigan Valley HOA board. And we got another meeting coming up in September, and I'm sure that will be efficient and effective as well. Thank you.